Welcome back, War Room fans. We're starting up Game 10, Turn 4. So Bryce and I had a little discussion. Bryce thinks he's going to put up a good fight, but it's looking grim for the Axis. One of our discussion points is remember on Turn 1 when I brought everything over there to the far east out of Moscow, but his attack plan was to go med first type strategy, that it was kind of like it didn't really matter. And it's created this weird situation. I don't know. I mean, so we're just going to keep playing it out. No one's given up quite yet. Well, I should say Bryce hasn't given up quite yet, because since I'm playing the Allies. And so you can see America is starting to finally get their stacks going. So we'll see how it goes. So Bryce, what do you think you need to do this game session? Besides have some dice luck.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Some of it has to do with just kind of what you're going to do. You know, I guess I'm going to try to catch you off guard, maybe do something you're not expecting, I think is what I'm going to try to
do. The unexpected strategy. Interesting. Okay, well, we're starting it back up, so I'll be back for orders on turn 4. Welcome back, guys. Middle of turn 4. So here the turn order came out. Japan bid 7, went top. Britain bid 4, went second. Germany bid 3, went bottom. US bid 1, went top. Rest filled in. So that's how the turn order came out. So now over here we can see the Americans are slowly coming over. They're coming over in the southern route. We've locked up the remainder of the British subs out here. Britain came out into M1 with their mega stack, sent in their battleship to take on the Italian fleet with a carrier plane. The Allies just brought in huge amounts of air into France. The 72nd and that air unit underneath there, the 11th, declined combat. They had orders to G1. They took off. The Americans declined the invasion, but the 53rd of the British came in to Denmark. The Italians are coming up into Leningrad. Now the 48th came out of Germany, so they're going to try to overwhelm the Russians. The Russians decline combat up here, and they're just hanging tight. But with the British going second, what they did was they brought in the South Africans from the Sudan into Egypt. They brought in the 60th from the Middle East to tie down Egypt. They brought over a huge 7 stack from India to the Middle East with fighter support, which caused the 108th Battalion to cancel their Middle East invasion. So basically the British are a bunch of angry Brits attacking Italians. And that's always bad news for the Italians. Down here, everything else is looking good. The Indians are here. The Japanese brought off the 30th to try to take back Sumatra, finishing off the west coast of Australia. The Americans came down with the 2nd Fleet and whiffed because the Japanese moved all the way back up here, but the Americans are bringing all their planes into P1. And notice here, Japan came out of Korea. Going to take that factory with those 2 infantry. The Chinese are going into Korea. Japan just sending it all into Peking. So we'll see what happens there. The Americans had the 69th going into P1. They canceled the order due to what was going on. And the Americans are bringing up another battleship in reserve. So that's where we stand after orders of turn 4. So we'll see how it all breaks down. Welcome back, guys. End of turn 4. Bryce threw in the towel. Couldn't take it anymore. According to him, the writing was on the wall. We didn't do production, but Russia would basically have like a 10 stack. So Germany would take like 2 more turns realistically to take Moscow. The Allies landed up here in Denmark. They got an 8 stack of British and a ton of air. It's all hidden, but they have like 12 fighters and 3 bombers. The American 51st is still sitting out there. France emptied out when we did the strat bombing. Now the naval power is unleashed. They came in down in here, the British battleship with the carrier plane, sunk a battleship and a cruiser, so Italy is basically reduced down to a cruiser. The counterattack into Egypt, the 75th is still there. All the Germans are dead except for their air wings, and they got basically 2 infantry sitting there. And then the entire Indian force is here in the Middle East. Got some more guys coming up here. The Americans are coming over. We got more reinforcements coming in. So Price is just looking at this like it doesn't matter what happens in Moscow. The Allies are just overwhelming them now. Notice here in India, we have a 5 stack and 5 guys are going to come out this turn. Because remember, we didn't do production. We didn't reveal production. They came off on the 30th to try to get Sumatra. But the Americans brought over the 13th with their bombers up here into P1 trying to bust into China. And they just blew the royal crap out of the Japanese Navy. I mean, they're reduced down to a battleship and a cruiser. They're going to produce a battleship. So basically the Japanese Navy is 2 battleships and a CV against all this American naval power. What broke Bryce's back, though, was the Koreans came up here into Karelia against the notionals. All they had to do was take it, and they got 2 free infantry. So would go from 1 infantry to 3 infantry, and the notionals rolled a double yellow. That sent him over the top. So they took the rest of Australia down here. But the Allies now are just closing in on them. And it really doesn't matter if Moscow falls at this point. Over here, we had our big throwdown. Japan threw everything into Peking. They have 2 armor and 1 artillery against a bunch of Russian infantry, Chinese infantry, and an artillery. Plus the Americans have landed now with planes. Chinese took Korea. So they got 3 infantry. Plus the Russians are about to pop. So they're just overwhelming them now and land units down here. So Bryce said that was it. He's done. So that's how game 10 will end, gentlemen. Another Allied victory. 7-3 Allied advantage. So that's it, guys. And I will be back with some strategy sessions. I'm itching to finish off the British tactical guide and then move on over to one of the Axis.
Go find your mom.
Talk to you guys later. Bye.